Well, hello there, and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about why you shouldn't be investing in the S&P 500. First of all, before I get into it, quick disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional. I'm far from it. I have no experience in this sort of thing. I'm just someone who's kind of interested in this sort of thing. If you want professional advice, ask a professional. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into my thoughts. Why should you say goodbye to the S&P 500, especially if you live in the great country of Ireland? Wow. Well, the S&P 500 is an ETF or an index fund. So what that is it's a basket of shares. That means rather than investing in just one share, you're investing in loads of different shares. And the benefit to this is if one share falls, you've still got 499 other ones to fall back on. So you're not going to lose all of your money. Whereas if you invest in just one share, if you just buy the likes of Microsoft and it goes to zero, all your money's gone. There's a couple of different ETFs that you can buy out there. I mean, there's tons of them. There's so many different ones. A couple of popular ones. NASDAQ 100 tracks top 100 growth tech stocks. All World tracks 3,700 companies. Bloody huge. And then, of course, the S&P 500, the most popular one, that tracks the top 500 companies in the USA. The S&P 500, it's the bog standard. It's recommended by so many top investors like Warren Buffett we have here. Some of these YouTube guys like Graham Stephan we have here, and Andrei Jikh, another one of the guys we have here in the bottom right here. Why do they recommend it? Well, it's simple. Like I said earlier, if one company goes to zero, you've still got 499 to fall back on. It's easy to do. You just put money into it, and it grows on average 10% a year for the last umpteen years. So it's proven over time, and it beats all the pros. So what's the problem? Shawnee G, why are you telling me not to do it? Well, the main reason you shouldn't do it is if you invest in the S&P 500 in Ireland, you have to pay deemed disposal tax. What is it? The Irish government are going to tax you 38% on gains every 8 years, whether you've sold or you haven't sold. So if your money's locked away in the S&P 500 and you haven't sold but you've made gains, you have to pay tax on that even though you're not seeing any of the money. This is more than your typical 33% capital gains tax. There's a lot of negatives to that, but we'll get into it. So for example, if you invest €1,000, so for our example, if you invested €1,000 every year for 10 years into the S&P 500, assuming a growth rate of 10% per annum, which it's done historically, your portfolio would be worth €17,531. So that's great. You've only put in 10,000 and your total growth is 7,000, upwards of 7,000. But because of deemed disposal, when you hit year 8, you have to pay €435 on that first €1,000 that you've put in, because it's been in there for 8 years and it's accumulated a growth, and now you have to pay your tax on it. And then the next year, you're going to have to pay tax on the second €1,000 you put in. And then again in the 10th year. And then again. And then again and again and again. So, most people recommend doing something like investing monthly. It's just going to be a total headache if you're going to do that. So, I don't recommend it. Yeah, imagine doing that for 20 years. This is what it's going to look like. Doesn't look too bad after 10 years, but when you hit, it just kills your compounding. As you're growing, look at this. Look at the graphs, man. Look at the graphs. when you hit year 20, you've lost €15,000. That's €15,000 you've directly handed over to the Irish government. This is 15,000 that if you were an American or if you literally lived anywhere else, this 15,000 would be still in your portfolio and it would be growing. So not only have you just handed it away, but it's no longer compounding for you. So it's this deemed disposal rule is a compound killer. So it's tricky to make a case for investing in the S&P 500 in Ireland. There are a few ways you can do it. So what can you do instead? Well, Shawnee G's got a couple of answers for you. Solutions. Number one, do it anyway. Buy it through a pension fund. So if you have a private pension fund, you might be able to invest in the S&P 500 or any ETF or index fund that you might be interested in anyway. This means you'll have no more deemed disposal rule or gains tax. So it's going to grow actually tax-free because it's in a pension fund. And you actually might get a tax relief on that. So if you're getting paid through a payslip, you can get tax relief by putting your money into your pension fund. So that's a bonus. The only negative of it, of course, you can't touch it until you're 50 years old, at least, if not older. And yeah, you don't get to touch it. So it's stashed away. Another solution you can do is just buy individual shares. The benefits of this is pick exactly what you want. So maybe you look at the S&P 500 and you go, well, I don't really like Berkshire Hathaway or Coca-Cola or McDonald's. I just like tech stocks. So I'm just going to buy, but then even that, I don't like Microsoft, but I like Facebook, well, Meta. So you buy Meta stocks. You should buy the stocks that you want, that you like. This is good. It's a bit of fun. I find I do this myself. It can be a bit of fun, and that way you only have to pay capital gains tax when you sell, but it does take a bit more time management and a bit more research into the stocks. You can't just go, yeah, I'm just going to throw money at this and it's going to do well, because now you're only in one business. You have to make sure that's a good business that you're in. And then this is my favorite one: trusts and holding companies. So these are companies that's business is basically owning businesses. And I think this could be the best way to get a similar effect of an ETF or an index fund without this crappy fucking deemed disposal rule. So these companies, like I said, they make their business by owning other businesses. So you kind of get the same pros as buying shares, but without much management, because they're taxed the same way as shares. So they're taxed on capital gains tax when you sell. And the thing is, if you pick the likes of Berkshire Hathaway and they own Coca-Cola and McDonald's, it's nearly like buying another S&P 500. So they could be a good thing to look at. And there's so many different ones out there that you could look at. Investor AB in Sweden, they own lots of great companies and they could be really good investments. There's also some of these companies invest in private companies, which as a retail investor, you don't have access to invest in private equity. But through these holding companies or trust funds, you have the potential to do that. The negatives to it, you could be overpaying if the price of the fund or the holding company is higher value than all the shares that it owns. But this could also be a positive, and you could be underpaid. If you'd like to see another video on any of these different, I'll probably do another video on all of these different solutions separately in the future. So yeah, thanks for watching. From me, Andrei Jikh, and the rest of the team there that definitely exist. Ronnie Reader, great guy. Abby Author and Barry Brooks. I couldn't say any better words about them. But yeah, that's me there, Shawnee G Finance. So please like and subscribe. Do me a great help. And let me know what you think about the Dean disposal. I think it's fucking shit.